One of my favorite parts about being a content creator on this app is getting comments from you guys when it comes to your design dilemmas or your design questions when it comes to your own home decor. Now, I do try to come up with pretty unique and out-of-the-box video ideas, but every now and then I do receive your comments on my videos just asking for my design expertise when it comes to your own design dilemmas and mistakes. So in today's video, I wanted to give you my design advice when it comes to some of your comments, and I also included a few of my other design dilemmas that I most commonly see. Generally, when I'm approached by somebody who just feels like their room feels off in some way, usually it comes down to a space planning or a proportion issue when it's coming to their actual furniture layout and design. The scale of the furniture pieces you collect and the way you arrange them around your space is really what's going to have the biggest impact on how your space feels. So if you're struggling to enjoy your room and your first thought is to attack color and pattern and each individual furniture piece, I would challenge you to consider some of these points before you dive into some of those other items. A design mistake that I see very commonly is people placing all of their furniture pieces along the walls of a room. A general rule of thumb is to have at least a foot away from the wall and a furniture piece. However, if your room really does feel quite small, I would aim for about 6 inches, just as long as that furniture piece is not right up against the wall. A common misconception is that this is going to make your space feel smaller, when in fact, when you push all of your furniture pieces against the wall, you think it's giving the illusion of space, but it's actually making the space feel just a little bit crowded. When you bring a furniture piece off of the wall, it actually makes it feel like there's more flow in the room, and it's actually going to have the opposite effect, where it does indeed make your space feel just a little bit larger and a little bit light and airier. The next layout mistake that I often see is people placing their furniture so that everything is facing the TV. Now, in theory, this works if it's in your media room or your bonus room, or just an area where the main goal of the space is in fact to be watching TV. But for the most part, if you only have one living space in your home, generally speaking, you want it to also be a zone where conversations can happen. So by turning a few of the pieces away from the TV and back into the conversation zone, this is going to create just a little bit more comfort in that space. And when you are hosting people or you're just hanging out with your family, this is actually going to allow you to face each other and connect, so you're not always just wanting to watch TV when you're in that space. And visually speaking, when you walk into a space that actually has multiple different furniture pieces and they're all facing into one kind of conversation pit, this is a lot more welcoming, and it's just a little bit more of a softer way of decorating a room. Another reason your space might feel off is you're misusing scale and proportion when it comes to your individual furniture pieces. Generally speaking, if you have a small room, you want to be focusing on smaller scaled furniture items. And the same way it goes if you have a large space, you don't want to have lots of small furniture pieces. You want to decorate it with larger items so that it occupies the space. Quite often when you're shopping, I do find most furniture stores nowadays will label furniture items as apartment sized. This is really what you want to be shopping for when you are selecting some of your larger furniture pieces. For example, if you have a really small condo or apartment and you're shopping for sofas, you aren't going to be looking for something that is scaled for a larger single family home. You really do want to keep your eye on the lookout for something that is just a little bit smaller in scale. It's going to make your space feel larger because it's not occupying so much of the room. And then depending on the size of space you have, when you are selecting some of these larger furniture pieces, you also want to echo that into the secondary pieces you're bringing into the room as well. So for example, if you do have a larger home and you've selected a larger sofa and you want to bring in a couple of secondary armchairs, these are items that really should be matching the scale and proportion of the sofa. You don't want to have one really large piece in the room and then select 2 teeny tiny little side chairs to go with it. This is going to feel out of balance and it's not going to feel cohesive. And the same thing if you have a small apartment and a lot of your furniture is a apartment size, but you fall in love with a really big chunky armchair, when you bring that in with a lot of your smaller items, it's really going to stick out and become the focal point of the space. So you want to be sure that it is the look that you're trying to achieve in your home. Another element that can throw off the balance of your space is also visual clutter. I find a lot of people get really excited about filling their space with furniture pieces, but often if we are just a little bit more selective and a little bit more intentional about the items we're bringing in, this is going to have a higher impact than filling your space with a lot of little bits of furniture instead. For instance, you might have a few different furniture pieces that are all serving the purpose of storage in your space, when in fact you could consolidate all of these pieces into one larger storage cabinet. This is going to have a higher visual impact when you walk in the room, and it's really going to still meet all of your needs when it comes to storage in the space as well. I've even done this exercise in my own home. Sometimes when I go to paint a room, I remove all of the furniture pieces out, I'll paint the room, and then slowly bring everything back in. This is when I can start to edit and decide where is that tipping point when I've brought too many pieces back into the room, and what elements could I really do without. When you cram too many things into your home, it really does affect the way that you flow around your space, or even just the way your eye can take the room in. So when you do leave some of these gaps and some of these holes in your home decor, it allows you to take in your room without that extra visual clutter, and you're able to actually identify areas that you want to fill with something special. If you are just cramming too many pieces into your home, it really can get in the way of visualizing the overall scheme and the broader vision of how you want that space to feel. I get so many questions from people when it comes to adding color in their space. I know for so long now, neutrals have really been the way that most people have decorated their homes, but I am just so excited to see people adding color back into their homes. This is just such a fun way to add pops of interest, and it's really going to make you feel just so comfortable in your space as well. The best way to achieve balance when it comes to adding color in your space is by using a color palette. Even if you are somebody who loves to use multiple different colors, by going on something like Canva and identifying which colors you truly love and just putting them together on a scale, this is going to at least allow you some sort of limitation and some sort of a guide that you can follow when you are adding these colors into your space. By setting just a few limits on yourself, this is going to help the colors in your home to feel less chaotic and just a little bit more intentional. And a color palette works really well if you are somebody who is just a little bit more timid when it comes to adding color in your space. I find lots of people will decorate in neutrals and then they'll select one accent tone to be layering in their space. In my professional opinion, this is not enough. This is actually going to contrast more than if you are using multiple different colors, and it's not going to have that same soft and layered effect that when you actually use a scheme is going to achieve in your space. And if you truly are just a single color gal, then what I would recommend is introducing multiple shades of that one tone. This again will allow you to more correctly layer that color throughout your space, and it's not going to feel as harsh as introducing the exact same shade when it comes to all of your accents in the space. This tip brings a lot of people down, but I am in fact not a huge fan of accent walls. I know behind me I do have an accent wall, but I do just have a few rules and stipulations when it comes to adding an accent paint on your walls. The first one is accenting just some sort of architectural interest in your space. This could be wall paneling, it could be a feature ceiling, just any wall that really does have a unique feature or a unique element that you want to bring attention to and create as the focal point of the room. And the second is walls that are interestingly shaped. I just find if you have some sort of an angular wall or just an odd wall in your space, this is usually a great focal point to add a feature color to. But generally speaking, if your walls do not fall in one of those two categories, I don't love the idea of just one accent wall that's just kind of flat and square. this is going to make your space just feel a little bit dated. A better way, in my opinion, if you are interested in adding some color to your walls, is simply just to do the whole room instead. You can always look this up online. It's called a color drenching. It's really where you paint an entire room one color. And I do think you can elevate this further by including the trim and the ceiling in this shade as well. And if you're coming to this video and you're somebody who says, hey, I hate color, I love neutrals, I'm not going to take these tips, think again. So even if you are a lover of neutrals, this can often fall very flat and it just comes across as quite boring if you aren't introducing multiple shades of neutrals and many different tones. If you really want to perfect that neutral look, balancing multiple shades in this way is going to do just that. It's really going to elevate the look and give your home that feeling of sophistication. And along those lines, if you're dealing with neutrals or colors, you do want to be looking for contrasting tones as well. Often I find lots of people will select colors for their home that's all within the same shade range, but you really do need some of those highs and lows to make each tone stand out on its own and give your space that focal interest that we need. Open concept. For so long, this is all anybody could talk about on HGTV or on Instagram or in the design magazines. And now many people are left with these large open concept homes that they just cannot grasp at how to make each room feel separate and individualized. I actually used to do a lot of online paint consultations, which was fun, but it also brought me down because basically every single paint consultation revolved around somebody's open concept space. And people were always trying to use paint to define individual zones. And I have to say, if you have an open concept space, paint is never going to be your friend in that way. Because open concept just has such long walls, there really is no natural breaking point for where you could put a feature paint on. So I would just recommend it keeping your walls one tone throughout, unless, like we talked about, you've got some sort of special wall that you could incorporate a shade on. But for the most part, if you are looking to very intentionally define zones, I would actually recommend using your furniture pieces to do this. This really should be your first line of defense when you are working with an open concept space. By placing an area rug in the room, this is going to ground your furniture and really define each zone in the space. From there, your second line of defense is the furniture layout. Just like we spoke about earlier in the video, if you're creating a furniture zone that really faces into each other and creates a little bit more of that conversation area, this is what's going to close off that individual living zone or dining zone, and it's really going to make that area feel defined and just a little bit more separated from the rest of the open concept plan. Now, where paint can actually be your friend when you're creating some of these distinct zones in your open concept space is actually by highlighting some of your cabinetry or other built-in millwork items. If you have all white walls, all white cabinetry, and everything is just really one tone when it comes to the built-in items in the space, this is going to give the feeling of one continuous room, where if you're a little bit more intentional about the colors and tones that you're using on the built-in items in the space, this is what can define your kitchen as a separate zone and then more of your living as a separate zone. And it's really going to make those individual millwork pieces just really stand out and create focal points in the space as well. And if the only items you can really accent with are furniture pieces, you want to be cognizant to also layer different materials and textures in these items as well. When a space is overloaded with all of the same textures and materials, it's really going to feel very cohesive and one-dimensional. So again, if you are looking to just create some separation and individual spaces, you want to be focusing on the individual materials that you're using within each zone. This is going to add layers, definition, and separation without the use of actual walls in the room. Over Overcommitting to wood tones is another big mistake I see in people's homes, especially if you're working with like a mid-century modern style or a very rustic style in your space. Usually furniture pieces from these styles are most commonly in a wood tone. And the same thing goes for heirloom furniture. I do find lots of people receive hand-me-down dining tables and chairs that are always in the same matching wood shade. And it can be so challenging to know if you should be mixing some of these wood tones, if you should be introducing other wood tones, or if you should just be avoiding more wood tones altogether. In my opinion, wood furniture is just some of the best quality furniture pieces you can be adding to your space. And so if this is a look that you really love, I definitely would recommend mixing different wood tones in your space. I've always been a lover of the 60-30-10 rule when it comes to layering anything in your home, but wood tones, it works so well. Generally, for most people, we have a wood tone that we're using for the flooring in our space. I would call this your 60% wood shade for the room. From there, you might have a few larger pieces in a secondary wood tone. I would consider this your 30%, and then that leaves the remaining 10% to be used as an accent wood shade that you could throw on something smaller like a side table or even something like an armchair as well. When you layer wood tones in this way, it's really going to create rhythm in your space, and it's not going to feel like each tone is competing with each other. And while I tend to love wood furniture, there does come a point where you can kind of reach the cusp of overdoing it in your space as well. And using that 60-30-10 rule can really help when you're looking around your space and you feel like, 80% of the room is committed to wood tones. Maybe I actually need to be introducing some other materials in here as well. Because wood is just such a heavy material in our space, some of my favorite items to mix in and incorporate is actually going to be glass pieces. I find this contrasts really well with wood materials, and it's also not going to be adding to the visual heaviness of this space. And the same thing goes for textiles. If you do feel like you've overcommitted to some pretty heavy furniture elements, if you're adding draperies and toss cushions and area rugs to your home, this can add just a certain level of a lightness and just really soften the space as well. And if you're a friend of the channel, you will know that I am somebody who believes in honest materials. So when it comes to your wood furniture pieces, you do really want to look for authentic wood pieces. This would be avoiding things that are like faux veneers or just items that are meant to look like wood, but they're not really solid wood. In the moment, this might feel like just a quick and cheap furniture solution, but realistically, if you are saving up and just being very selective to buy genuine wood pieces, these are items that can be refinished and they really do last a lifetime. And truthfully, I don't see much of a difference when it comes to faux wood versus genuine wood pieces. Reason being, I purchase all of my genuine wood items secondhand off of either Facebook Marketplace or from the thrift store, and usually they're a much better price point than that fast furniture faux wood piece anyway. And if wood is a material that you just love to decorate in your home with, I would challenge you to look into the different types of wood finishes and stains. This is just such a fun material to play around with and incorporate in many different ways in your home as well. So those are all of the tips that I have for this video. If you haven't seen her in the frame already, this is my cat Ember. I have the front door open this whole time I've been filming, so she's been kind of hanging out and around. I don't know if she's popped into any of the frames, but anyway, this is little MB. She's such a little sweetheart, but anyway, this is her big debut. And if you have a design dilemma or question of your own, definitely let me know down in the comments as well. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.